we haven't, most people may not understand this, but we have not met all the people that we're going to sail with, oftentimes until they step on the boat. And
Yeah.
so, there was 5 separate trainings done to cover the whole group that will have done all or parts of this race on our boat. So it's very likely you have not sailed with the vast majority of the people. And so you never know. You never
Mm,
know who they are and how they're going to contribute. And um, so that's always an interesting part of the race, is to see how
yeah.
that plays out.
I'm going to go there. We have a great question from one of two Karens. So Karen Cross asks,
Mhm.
changing teams mean changing team dynamics. As an OG, an original, how is embracing new people changing the dynamic and the communication? It seems like you would just get used to one way of doing things and then shift again with a new crew.
Mm. Yeah, I love this question because, especially because Karen is building a company right now and she is an OG of her company. She's the
Mhm.
CEO or co-CEO and co-founder. And so she's probably going through this with her own little boat, which is an amazing company. Also named after a very good drink, a mimosa. But
That's great.
um, this has evolved. I would say the answer to this has evolved. I think if you had asked me this question, in Uruguay or in Cape Town, it would have been, we bring new people on, we you know, we kind of allow them to watch and learn over the first few days. We, sort of guide them into the new roles. Um, and that kind of worked, but we weren't really happy with the how uh, how quickly people were feeling comfortable. The new people were feeling comfortable. So we have adapted and are much more intentional about teaching right away, about getting people involved right away, about asking for input, asking for, do they see ways that we're doing things that could be done better? Um, and it feels like a much more respectful and equal relationship between those who've been on the boat for a long time and those who are just joining.
Mm,
And so, I think for anybody that's, I was thinking about this question. I think there's something about being more intentional about how we use new people to elevate the way we already do things, as opposed to seeing it as not a burden, but as an effort to bring them up to where we're at. I see it as bringing them in where we're at, and how can they elevate where we're at.
mm,
And I think that's been the big shift for us, is that when new people join, they are adding to what we already do.
mm,
And um, and when they feel that, when they feel seen that way and respected that way, they pick up and see what the way we do things. Just they pick it up right away. They don't feel like they're behind. They feel like they're part of what we're
mm,
doing. Um, and we're also running a very systematic process that we've all been through training on. So, Clipper does a great job of teaching a certain way of running the boat, that through all the levels of training that we did, so that when somebody steps on the boat, they're not stepping into a situation where we're doing things in a completely different way than they would have ever seen before. Um, we're probably doing them faster. We're probably doing them with less uh, sort of step by step, slow, methodology that is used in training. It all sort of just kind of happens. Almost,
mm,
it might even feel like it's all happening at the same time, but it's happening in a sequence where everybody knows their job and knows how to do it and knows when to start doing it, based on somebody else having done their job, and it just sort of happens pretty seamlessly. So, um, I'm sure when you first step on the boat, you notice that, but I I really noticed that as we've shifted the way we see the new people,
Mm.
their ability to integrate and get up to speed and add value has gone through the roof. And so I think it was definitely on us to create a better environment for them versus expecting them to, to raise their game.
I mean, I love this so much. Like this, you see this in education too, right? I think the way that you said it about they're respected, it's not like you're a rookie and we're going to do some hazing or some teasing about what you don't know. It's like, wow, you're in a play. I remember being a preschool teacher and loving uh that shortish time in life, went very short time in life really, when kids didn't know how to read yet because they would see things that I wouldn't see.
Mm.
It's
Hmm.
fascinating, like to view the world so differently. And anyway, they're not rookies because they've had the training, there's a certain level, like even that part of what you were just sharing when when uh when I'm skiing, when we're driving a car, like there are things that are just operating in the background that we don't have to think about anymore. And um the idea of knowing that what like someone gets on the boat knowing that or feeling that the others around them know that they're perfectly competent. Now it's time to see like what are you seeing here that we're missing? What a wonderful way
Right.
to invite someone into an environment, a new environment.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow, that's also a great question because I think it's really you can think about this in other areas of life, right? Besides being on it. That's what's
I think Karen was asking for, for a very, personal reason because, growing a company, building a company, going from the core founding group and adding new people, that is always one of the big challenges for startups and, scaling up companies is how do you build culture? And, I think something around what I just said is how, if I was working with a startup founder, it would be something built around that notion that, okay, when new people get hired, like this is where we're at now, but you're being hired because we want to be better. So
mm,
we want you to contribute to how we're going to get better. And we want your skills, but also the way you see the world, which will of course be different than the way we've seen it. We want to embrace that. We want to welcome that. We want to hear what you see and what you think about how we do things or how we might do them. Um, I think that's a great way to create a culture that everybody feels part of,
hmm.
and protects the existing culture, but allows you to still keep growing and enhancing it at the same time.
There is an empowerment in it too that I think is worth highlighting. Like, so Jay is interning, my 19-year-old is interning in a sound recording studio right now. And that has been the culture. As soon as he walked in the door, everyone who works there, all the way out on up to the senior engineer, head engineer, they all started as interns.
Mhm.
And they're basically welcomed in with this idea of like, we're so excited you're here because you have stuff to bring that we haven't seen yet because we haven't had you here. And Max, my 23-year-old, he works in an emergency room and um he's now training to be a paramedic. So there's even more ways that this is showing up, but like the people there are like, "Hey, get over here and do this." Like because he wanted that. So the support of being included and seeing how you do it and knowing that it's going to enhance things for everybody. It's no wonder that that emergency room is part of one of the best hospitals in the nation, routinely winning awards for being, a great workplace and place for patients to do well. Ooh, this is a good one. Thank you, Karen.
Thank you, Karen.
Yeah, and thank you, Andrew. Right, because I think the leadership on the boat of which you're a part of. I'm sure it must have been interesting to watch this evolve as you've gone around the world. You know.
It's definitely required some reflection from the leadership group on yeah, how we could be better, and listening to the feedback of those who are leaving the boat from finishing their legs, and taking that in, and then adapting, and trying to get better at every race. So
Yeah.
yeah, definitely you got to go into this with the desire for everybody to have a phenomenal experience, whether they're doing one leg or doing all of them. And that doesn't happen by accident.
Yeah. Yeah. Very well said. Does not happen by accident.